Hello and welcome to Comicstorian Weekly, the weekly show that we talk about comic books that came out this week. It is myself and Andy. How are you doing, Andy?
Eh.
All right. Well, that's fair. All right, let's jump on into the comic.
I wanted to change it up today.
Throwing me off. Just like, sup?
What's up?
All right, so starting off with DC, we've got Batman 106. I thought this was a solid issue. Also had an amazing backup issue. Did you read this?
I did, yes. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the backup issue was.
Robin.
Oh, right, yeah.
By Joshua Williamson.
Yeah, the introduction of Robin with his new suit and everything. Yeah, it was good.
Freaking loved it. But Batman 106 was really good because it finally truly explains what the Magistrate is.
Yes.
What their goal is and all of that stuff. We also get some cool stuff with Ghostmaker during it.
I like how they're just buddies now.
Right. I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. Honestly, it's funny that we went from like, I'm going to kill everyone in Gotham that you won't, to, all right, so meet you back at the base for sparring. All right, see you later.
It's like the first real person where you're like, okay, Batman actually found his equal.
Right, yeah.
But so my biggest problem with this actually doesn't come from this comic. It's the future state.
Okay.
The knowing of what happens with the Magistrate and which people are still around and like how that happened. I am never a fan of the ones where it's like, okay, now we're going to go back to before this.
So my only thought process to that is supposedly future state was a possible future.
Right.
So what could be going on in the comics now, and I don't know if this is true, could be the Magistrate's going to start, but Batman and Co. will stop them before they become a thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Company, Batman and Company.
Oh.
Batman and Co. Sorry.
I was like...
Batman and Friends?
Batman and Friends. There we go. I like that one more. Batman and Sidekicks.
Yeah, sure. That could be what they're going to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the future state was supposed to be a possible future.
Yep.
And even in the Infinite Frontier, Diana's like, I saw the future, and they're like, well, it was a version of the future. It's up to humanity to decide whether that happens.
Okay, that's fair.
So it could be they're dropping some breadcrumbs for what the Magistrate does turn into, but Batman and Friends will stop it before it happens.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
With that in mind, yeah, it's...
So, like I said, I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but yeah.
They did a good job, though, of presenting Magistrate with making it seem logical why they would have presented themselves, so to say. But yeah, Batman 106... worth getting. The
redesign for Scarecrow is really good too.
Okay, the redesign one was fantastic. There was one panel though, I want to see if I can find it to show you, where it goes from serious, creepy to that's
like
the best. That's the best way to say it. But the backup issue in this is the
introduction
Joshua
of
Williamson, Robin. I'm so excited.
It looks good, yeah. I like the new costume design. I thought it was a good costume.
Me too. So
design,
for those of you wondering, essentially he has accepted his role as grandson of the demon and is going back to fill that role.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
In short, that is what it is, but he did such a good job that I honestly read this and I'm like, that was my favorite part of this entire comic. It must have been the other one that had Scarecrow that they did the weird face.
Yeah, because he shows up in Infinite Frontier too.
That might be the one I'm thinking. So, Batman 106, I recommend picking up. I thought it was really good. If you have been reading Batman, oh my God, I missed that. Okay, sorry. If you have been reading it, keep going. One that I did not see came out that I really wish I did. Crime Syndicate #1.
I didn't see it either, but I only go through it after you guys have already bought them, and then that's what I read.
I think it got buried in the fact that they did like a mass release of Conan the Barbarian, and I just kind of skipped over that.
Oh, maybe.
But yeah, Crime Syndicate #1 came out. Check it out. Let us know what you think. I'm going to try and remember to read it.
Yeah, I'll try to remember.
You know what? I'm just going to add to cart.
Yeah, I was going to say, just purchase it now.
And there we go.
Worst case, when you see Crime Syndicate #2, you can be like, oh shit, I should have read the first one.
Yeah. All right, so next up, one of the biggest ones to talk about today, Infinite Frontier #0. the sampler for the entirety of the Infinite Frontier line. I honestly thought it was good that it gave a good amount of each story to show you what you're going to be getting.
The direction of most of the books are going.
The pacing was nice that I never really felt like, okay, can we just get to the next one already?
I mean, there was a couple, because I don't care about the characters or anything like that. I'm like, all right. Like when they got to like Stargirl and all them, I'm like,
The Stargirl was exactly the show.
Yeah. Which makes sense. The show is doing well. They're going to.
Right. The Flash part I loved.
I'm not a fan of the Flash, so I could care less.
I thought it was good because it was a good passing of the title. And putting Barry in a role that makes sense. Like, he's always been the Speed Force, multiverse, time traveling kind of stuff. And it just kind of makes sense. And we clear things up so that we don't really have to worry too much about it. I liked the Roy Harper a little bit.
Where he's just like, who do
it's like, what do I
back
do?
from the dead? You want to hang out? I'm going to throw the phone away.
My first thought when I was actually reading that was, that's me. I liked the Nubia, the Yara Floor kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought this was just a really solid
a little bit more with
comic.
Yara Floor, because
Me too.
I like the character, but it was just like her in the airport, like, all right, everybody see ya.
Yeah.
And then like the Amazonian agents or whatever they are, were like, we have the target. They look like Amazonians.
I don't even know.
Yeah. The Nubia stuff was cool. Yeah,
Yep.
I like that.
I know I've seen quite a few people being upset about the Shazam thing, and I think people are.
It was dumb.
I honestly don't think it's like a legitimate change. I think
not.
that's just what people.
I
but
looked it
everyone
up.
thinks it's a real change, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Superman literally goes,
Black
this
Adam?
was Black Adam.
Yeah.
Like, those are his words.
Because I looked it up, because originally the rumor was that they were going to be changing the character of Black Adam to Shazam, which is just a stupid name. And if they did, that was a terrible decision. But no, it is not. They say it in the Infinite Frontier Zero, but no, it is not the actual character's name. Yeah, and apparently Black Adam will be joining the Justice League, which I didn't know.
Makes sense. He's getting a movie.
Yeah. And he's leaning more into hero role.
Yes, maybe more less villainous role.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Lately, he's been leaning more into the less villainous role.
He's doing the current Doctor Doom thing, where he's like, you know what? I'm not a major villain. I'm just looking out for my country at this point. Like, as long as you stay out of my way, I don't care that much.
The good thing, but I mostly do the right thing.
Well, it's good to me.
Yeah.
I like that we got Simon Baz finally in that bit. I like that they kind of do set up the Teen Lantern thing. Because that one is supposed to go into the Infinite Frontier story, which I am really excited to see. Teen Lantern, Mogo, in like the.
I like how Baz was like, "What's up with this Teen Lantern thing? Why would they give a ring to a teenager?" And even Jon Stewart's like, "I don't know, man."
Yeah, he's like, I just drive people places.
I'm just driving right now.
And then we got one heck of a twist at the end, which I'm really excited.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it, but
yeah,
we finally
had to figure something like that was gonna happen sooner or later.
Exactly, and I thought they did it very well, and I'm excited to see where they go with that. So
also, I'm pretty sure reading the Batman portions, which also tie really closely into the Batman 106.
They belong in the Batman.
Yeah, it looks like they cut it out of it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the prison guard Mahoney there is Peacekeeper 01. From Future State.
I think you're right.
Because it looks exactly like him.
Which, for the record, Peacekeeper 01 looks like James Gordon Batman.
Kind of, yeah, actually.
Like, he that's just...
He does, yeah.
What he reminded me of when I saw him. Because my first thought was, wait, is that James Gordon?
When did James Gordon get all young again?
But, I could definitely see that.
It looks like him, and he talked about the mistakes and stuff, the masks, man.
I like that we just kind of get rid of Bane. I liked that the way they got rid of Bane fit
into the Joker War thing.
The Joker War, and when... Was it Joker or Batman who laughs that goes to the prison and is like, are you kidding me? You had the whole city and you didn't do crap.
No, it was Joker.
It was Joker.
It was Joker when he had taken over the city, because he goes to Bane and is like, you actually thought I was working with you a little bit ago?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Really good, though. I recommend picking it up just because if you don't know what to pick from DC Infinite Frontier, this will
give you a good setup.
A great setup. And an idea of the writers as well as the art. Because they keep the proper artists with each one.
For the writer,
all right, next up we've got Man-Bat #2. It was Man-Bat versus the Suicide Squad.
All right, there you go.
That's honestly all you really need to know about that one. Batman. Oh, I did not actually see this. The next Batman Second Son #2 came out.
Yep.
Did you read this one?
I did. So Jace or Tim or whatever you want to call him ends up back in Gotham because he met Grifter at the end of the first issue.
Yep.
And this one's just kind of him talking to the family and realizing like Lucius isn't a big fan of him. Luke isn't a big fan of him. His mother's kind of a fan of him. And his sisters are a fan of him. That's pretty much it.
His mother's a fan of him, and he shoots her.
And he throws a battering at her.
That's right.
And he only wounds her. It's not that bad.
She's sucking up, Mom.
Yeah, jeez, Mom. Don't be such a bitch. Yeah, honestly, this is just he comes back to Gotham and talks to the family. That's what this issue is. So it's not, like I said, the first 2 issues aren't bad. They're definitely setup issues. They're not the best setup issues I've ever read. If you don't already kind of care, to me, this isn't going to grab you. That's my only thing right now. If you aren't already interested in the Fox family and the next Batman, this isn't going to like convince you, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like we need to kind of speed it along to get to the part where he becomes Batman.
All right. All right. So next up, we've got Suicide Squad #1. This is another one where it's like, okay, this clearly almost leads into the Future State one.
It does seem to, yes.
It's a new Suicide Squad. Honestly, when I read this, my first thought was, why did we get rid of Tom Taylor's one? Because that one was amazing.
Seriously. I said
this is Kelly Thompson?
It is. I still prefer the Tom Taylor one so far.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Which is saying something because I love Kelly Thompson.
Yeah, I am a fan too. This one, they were like, we got a Suicide Squad movie coming out, so we need to get some of those characters into a book.
Yeah.
Fast.
That's mostly what this
That's mostly what it is. It also does seem to set up kind of the direction that the Future State was going, which, like I said, if the idea is they gave you Future State and now this is how we are deviating, because everyone's like, oh, we're just going to get up to Future State. But if they deviate from that and they show you how they deviate, that could be an interesting way to tell a story. However, yeah, this does pretty much set up Future State.
I will say a problem that I had with this one was, considering all the new Suicide Squad squatters, I feel like that she did not do a good enough job introducing them and their powers. Like, I feel like when they showed them up the first time, it should have been a square. This is their name. These are their powers.
So what they did on Tom Taylor's run?
Exactly what they did in Tom Taylor's run.
Exactly what they did in Tom Taylor's run.
Because I honestly was reading and I'm like, wait, does that guy have lightning powers, or is he immune to being her? Like, what's the deal going on here? But yeah, I mean,
I would say that's the downside to the Suicide Squad. I think is that sometimes they do use those lower tier villains that maybe not everybody knows, right? And they don't always do a great job of explaining who they are, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. So next up, we've got the Swamp Thing #1. This one is, for the most part, it's setting up kind of what is the Swamp Thing, who is the Swamp Thing,
why is the Swamp
Thing? Why is the Swamp Thing? But I believe that we're finally getting back the gray, the green, the blue,
the various,
because they reference the water, the swamp, the desert, and so
it's the swamp, the combination of the water and the desert.
I mean, I guess in a way.
Sorry, keep going.
But it's just kind of a big story of that, as well as who the main villain clearly seems to be, which does seem to be the Rot. Not too much of a spoiler there. Rot's always been a part of the Swamp Thing.
Generally,
lore. And honestly, I've always enjoyed that aspect to the Swamp Thing, unless all right, so he's going to do something about people in his environment, or the fact that he wants people to be.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was all right. But if you're not a fan of the Swamp Thing, it's not going to make you a fan.
Gotcha.
If you have interest in the character, you'll probably find some enjoyment in the comics. So
okay,
that was our DC portion for today. Moving on to the Marvel portion. First up, we've got Avengers number 43. I'm getting so bored.
Here's the thing. What is it with Marvel and tournaments lately?
Yeah.
X of Sword was a tournament.
Honestly,
the Phoenix thing is a tournament.
It seems like they're just going, hey, can we do a civil war without it being like a big earth-changing, status quo-changing thing and just have them fight for no reason?
Well, what I think it is someone had just finished playing Mortal Kombat. And they were like, you know what we should do?
I think you mean Marvel versus Capcom.
That's what I meant. Marvel versus Capcom. But it's like, that seems to be like every issue is just a tournament style right now, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just, I kind of get to the point already. Please.
Yeah, this entire issue is mostly, it's Enter the Phoenix Part 4. So,
which
they're
I think
still
next issue is the last
about
one.
Them. Yeah, they're still fighting to see who is going to become the avatar of the Phoenix. It's clearly either going to be Thor or Black Panther.
That would be my thought process. Yes.
But there was nothing like the thing that made it even worse, in my opinion, was they all have Phoenix powers, but none of them really
use them.
Seem like it's cool. It's just they're fighting like normal, except there's fire.
Yeah. Wolverine's got fiery claws.
Exactly, and it's like
Hulk has fiery breath.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes any sense. She's Godzilla now.
And then even the portion with Thor and Phoenix and the whole
mommy issues.
Phoenix, the mother, it felt so forced.
Yeah.
And did not feel like it truly belonged. Like, it almost seemed like the entirety of the Phoenix and Thor should have been in an annual or something.
Or in Thor's comic.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, because Thor's comic's still really, really good right now.
That is true, yeah.
But yeah, I was not as impressed as I was hoping.
I'm a huge fan of Jason Aaron. I generally like his comics. And his Avengers comics to start were very good. I feel like he's kind of losing me on Avengers, though.
Same.
Lately.
I'm hoping the next arc's going to be better once we have a new Phoenix.
Maybe, yeah. Hopefully.
Maybe it's going to be weird and it'll go into Jennifer Walters and Thor's going to be like, wait, so I've been banging my mom kind of in a weird way?
Oh, this is weird.
Anyway, that is Avengers number 43.
He's like, Jennifer Walters, we must break up.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's awkward now.
It's not you. It's the person inside you.
Which can no longer be me.
Exactly.
Too much? Too far?
Okay. Anyway.
Is there a line? I don't know.
On to the next one. We've got Berserker number 1. This is the Keanu Reeves story.
Keanu.
I was talking to Andy about this earlier. It's
okay.
It's okay. It's Bloodshot meets Wolverine.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all it is. There's not much dialogue. It's just
it's
a
very
lot of
violent
violence.
first issue.
Yeah.
The actual story as it is presented in the first issue in and of itself is nothing incredibly new. Mm-hmm. It's an immortal who now works for the military, no longer wants to be immortal, and is trying to remember his past. It's kind of a story that's been done.
Or I guess it's Vandal Savage.
Actually, it is Vandal Savage because
he's been around for 80,000
he's like a caveman.
years.
Yeah. It's basically Vandal Savage. Yeah, that's a good point. The first issue isn't bad. It's just nothing new.
Nope.
So now this is just the first issue.
Yeah.
There could be twists. We don't know.
Yeah.
The first issue, in and of itself, not bad. Nothing incredibly new. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much Keanu actually had. I know Keanu was supposed to have written this. I don't know if he had like a basic idea and then Matt Kint comicked it up. I have no idea. Like I said, not bad. I'll probably at least check out the next issue.
Oh, yeah. I'll read the first 3 no matter what. That's what I generally do with these.
To me, right now, the story isn't anything earth-shattering.
Yeah.
It should have just been a comic about Keanu. Turns out Keanu is immortal.
They actually...
Stay with me.
Well, I mean...
He is.
Oh, my gosh. This whole thing...
Basically,
at
the
comic,
end,
he goes, this was my autobiography.
That's what I'm saying. He just plays it off like the comic is his autobiography.
It ends with him going, I'm mortal. Now to do villain test.
Excellent adventure.
But yeah, I mean,
that would be awesome.
If you are interested in over-the-top violence,
oh yes,
pick it up.
If you're really into violent comics.
Yeah.
This is a really violent comic.
Good one. All right, on to the next one. Demon Days X-Men #1.
Now, I did not read this.
Oh my God.
Apparently I should have.
The art alone, it is by Peach Momoko. Story and art by Peach Momoko. And
the name sounds very familiar.
It is beautiful. I know you probably won't be able to see it that much. It's a very Japanese style.
It looks like a Japanese fable kind of thing.
That's exactly what it is. It's about like the Oni, about Orochi, and like they make it X-Men and Marvel related. So the Oni is Hulk Maru. So it's a Hulk, and then we've got Orochi is actually Venom.
Oh, okay.
And
that's cool. So basically, take the Marvel universe and turn it into a Japanese fantasy tale.
Exactly. And
actually, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, and it's got Psylocke as like the wandering swordsman
warrior.
for hire.
Yeah.
And I thought it was actually really, really good. You could say it was a little rushed, but in my opinion, I thought it had great pacing.
Okay.
The art was beautiful. I think it is really, really worth reading. If you're a fan of like Japanese folklore, the yokai and stuff like that, I think you'll really enjoy this Demon Days series.
I'll have to go back and read it because I saw it and I was like, I have no idea what this is. And I just kind of skipped it. Yeah. But I feel like I should have read it.
The next one, for the record, this is going to be one of those ones. It's called the Demon Days Saga. So it's not going to be Demon Days X-Men #2. The next one's going to be Demon Days Mariko #1.
Oh, I see. So it's sort of like they were doing like Exoswords.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to let people know so you're not like looking for the X-Men #2.
Right.
You're looking for the correct one.
Okay.
But
good to know.
I recommend picking it up. The art alone makes me want to go buy the comic.
Right. Okay.
I'll definitely buy the trade for it. That's for sure. So next up, we've got Hellions #10. Did you read this one?
No, I mean, I kind of fell off Hellions, honestly.
Hellions has kind of gone a little lackluster. This one, last time we had Mastermind, had captured the Hellions. They're all basically being tortured.
Sure.
Mr. Sinister's being tortured because I want to say it's...
Does he still have his cape?
I want to say, yeah. Actually, no, he took his cape. That was the real torture.
Wow, what an asshole. Don't take my cape. Do whatever you want to me, but don't take my cape.
Yeah. And the entire thing is about Arcade. And I'm like, I don't care about Arcade.
Yeah.
Like, I've never really cared about Arcade. There's nothing really that's special about this. I'm hoping it gets a little better as we move forward, but as it currently stands, it is losing me. I'm not as hyped for it as I once was, which is saying something because I really enjoyed it.
I know at the beginning you were enjoying Hellions. So.
Yeah, so on to the next one. Another one that apparently we didn't buy. I don't even know how we missed this one. There was King in Black Captain America #1 came out.
We bought that. I read it.
We definitely did not. You must have read physical then.
No, I definitely didn't. I read it digitally.
Interesting. So tell us about it then.
Okay, so this one is after Captain America has been released from Null by Dylan. He runs through the city to help Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Gotcha.
They're helping people and trying to fight off the symbiotes. Basically, the whole issue is Cap trying to help out, but he still hears Null's voice in his head, and he's like doubting himself.
Okay.
So certain scenes would be like Cap, goes to do something, and then everything goes wrong, and then like Falcon or Winter Soldier will die.
Right.
But that's all in Cap's head because Null is still kind of messing with him.
It sounds almost like it sounds very reminiscent of Carnage USA.
Kind of, yeah.
When he was controlled by Carnage.
Yeah. And then by the end of the issue, he gets over it.
Okay.
Yeah, like that was the whole issue.
Was it a single issue thing?
It seems like it, yeah. Right. It was okay. I mean, you don't need to read it for the whole King of Black event at all. And even honestly, if you're a huge Captain America fan or Falcon and Winter Soldier fan, it's okay.
All right.
Yeah, honestly, like I can't sit here and go, you should definitely buy this. It was fine. It just wasn't anything earth-shattering.
All right. And for the record, if you guys are interested in King in Black, but you've been confused about potential items, weapons, terminology, characters, and everything like that, there is a King in Black handbook #1. This one does things like shows you the weapon and who held it, as well as like, and the cool thing is it actually tells you things like it's got Thor from Reality 616, Thor from Reality 14,412. We've got Gore from Thor God of Thunder #2 for the 2000. So it like does a good job of basically going, this has got it. If you want to go read it, go for it.
Yeah.
So obviously we did not get that because for the most part we know
we've been reading them all.
So. Next up, we've got King in Black, Gwenem versus Carnage #3. Meh.
Yeah, it was all right.
It's just same old,
sort
same
of
old.
Frees MJ, but then it turns out at the end maybe she didn't free MJ.
And like
I like how they have a battle of the bands.
Yep. Very Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, they do. What is it? It's a drum solo versus a guitar solo. And that's how the fight actually ends.
Yeah.
It was an okay issue. Yeah.
I think my biggest problem with this was the fact that Mary Jane as Carnage never said anything else. She just circled around the exact same things. I'm better than you. You don't deserve these powers. You killed Peter. I'm better than you. I deserve these powers. You don't deserve these powers. You killed Peter. And it's kind of like, okay.
We get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get to the drum solo.
Exactly.
We get it.
It seems like it's a 4-issue that could have been a 2-issue. So,
was it 4 issues?
I'm going to assume there's at least one more. There's got to be at least one more with the way that this ended.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Next up, we've got King in Black Thunderbolts #3.
This was awesome.
This was fantastic, and it had one of my favorite spots where he goes, "We're like a squad on suicide missions. We're the suicide team." Or something.
I thought it was hilarious. I actually laughed out loud.
I did too.
I read it and I went, ha!
King in Black Thunderbolts, I feel like this is one of those ones that you don't need to care about King in Black.
Nope.
If you just want a funny
you don't even need
Suicide
to care about,
Squad
like,
in Marvel.
Honestly, you don't even really need to care about the history of the Thunderbolts.
No.
If you don't even know
Because
the
it's a new team
Thunderbolts,
altogether.
because they're the whole new team.
Except that one guy who's like, I was on the Thunderbolts
I've
before.
actually been on the Thunderbolts before. And the other guy, what is it? The one guy's like, shut up.
Yeah, shut up, Chris.
No, it was the Leaper. They've worked together.
Yes.
That's what it was. He's like, we've actually worked together before. Yeah, and this sets up a new Thunderbolts book. It's led by the Taskmaster.
I am so excited.
I'm so gonna read that.
It's King in Black Thunderbolts #3. Pick it up.
A lot of fun. Yeah, this takes the standard idea of the supervillains that have become superheroes by accident or against their will.
Yep.
And does a really good job with it.
Matthew Rosenberg.
Yeah.
So
it was a good. Well, this was the 3rd issue, right?
yes,
It was a good. Of all of the tie-in books, you don't need this one, but you should read this one.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Definitely.
I very much enjoyed it.
However, speaking of ones you don't need to read and probably shouldn't, King in Black, Wiccan and Hulkling #1.
Oh, I didn't even read this one.
It's them trying to go on their honeymoon and getting attacked by symbiote
Isn't that how it
dragons.
always is when you go on a honeymoon? That happened to me
Exactly.
in my honeymoon.
I mean, if that doesn't happen, what's the point of having a honeymoon?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so next up, there's really nothing else to say. I did not like it.
Fair enough.
I was reading it and I'm like, can it be done?
Yeah.
I
One
want
of those, you're like, how many pages have we got left?
Exactly. Scott Snyder's Nocterra #1 came out this week. I actually did not read this one.
I did not either.
Okay.
I thought I had the graphic novel because we did the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Apparently, I have the oversized #1 issue.
All right.
Because I opened it and looked at it, but I didn't read it yet.
Well, all right then. It did come out. Scott Snyder's really good writer. I would recommend picking it up. I want to read it. I actually wish I had seen it so I could buy it and read it. But yeah.
I'm a huge Scott Snyder fan. So.
And it looks like that is the conclusion today's episode of Comicstorian Weekly. I hope you guys had a good time today. If you want to support us, you can subscribe here at twitch.tv/Comicstorian, where we record this live every Thursday at roughly 2 p.m. Eastern. You can also support us by joining our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian. $2 gives you early access to some great content. And we have some other tiers where you can ask us some Q&A questions, kind of a ask me anything kind of deal. And if you also want to support us and stay energized, you can use code COMICS at checkout with G Fuel and save 10% on your order. If you want to find more of Andy, he is for I Am the Andy on Instagram. And if you want to find more of me, you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Silu91, CYLOO91. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.